Ethan's stomach twisted with a familiar ache as he clutched the single sandwich wrapped in greasy brown paper. The only food he could afford after scraping together his last $7 from a double shift at the downtown coffee shop. Without hesitation, he crossed the busy Chicago sidewalk and pressed the package into the hands of the young man, slumped on the curb, looking every bit as lost as Ethan felt on his worst days. "You look like you need this more than I do," Ethan said quietly, his voice steady, even though his own hunger clawed at him. The stranger glanced up, eyes the color of storm clouds, widening in surprise. He was maybe 25, with sharp cheekbones and a jawline that spoke of better days, but right now his clothes were rumpled and his shoulders carried the weight of someone who had nowhere left to turn. "Why?" the man asked, his voice rough from the chill October wind. Ethan shrugged, forcing a small smile. "Because someone once told me kindness doesn't cost a thing until you run out of it." He walked away before the stranger could reply, his sneakers slapping against the wet pavement as the city lights blurred around him. Back in his tiny studio apartment above a noisy laundromat, Ethan collapsed onto the lumpy mattress, staring at the cracked ceiling. 23 years old, and already he felt ancient. Coming out to his parents in rural Illinois 2 years ago had cost him everything. A home, a family, a future they once promised. "We didn't raise you this way," his father had said, slamming the door behind him. Now Ethan survived on minimum wage tips, photography gigs that paid in exposure, and the quiet hope that one day the knot of shame in his chest might loosen. He rolled over, hunger gnawing, but sleep came anyway, carrying dreams of open roads and faces that didn't turn away. The knock came at 7 the next morning, sharp and insistent. Ethan stumbled to the door, still in yesterday's jeans, expecting the landlord, demanding rent he didn't have. Instead, 2 men stood in the hallway. One was older, distinguished, silver, threading his dark hair, wearing a tailored coat that screamed money. The other was the stranger from the curb, now clean-shaven in a crisp button-down, his storm cloud eyes bright with recognition. "Ethan Rivera?" the older man asked, his tone measured but warm. Ethan nodded, throat tight. "I'm Victor Langford. This is my son, Liam. You met him yesterday." Liam stepped forward, extending a hand. "You gave me your only meal. I told my dad everything. We've been looking for you since sunrise." Ethan's mind reeled. Billionaire Victor Langford, the tech mogul whose face graced every business magazine, standing in his doorway because of a sandwich? Liam's gaze held steady, no pity, just something deeper, gratitude, maybe even curiosity. "We'd like to talk if you have a minute," Victor continued. "What you did yesterday, it reminded us both that real kindness still exists." Ethan swallowed hard, stepping aside to let them in, heart hammering with a mix of fear and impossible hope. As the three of them sat around his wobbly kitchen table, the city traffic humming below, Ethan realized this single act had cracked open a door he never knew existed. The conversation flowed easier than he expected. Victor explained how Liam had been walking the streets after a brutal argument at home, testing himself without the safety net of the family fortune. "I needed to remember what it felt like to be ordinary," Liam admitted quietly. "Your kindness hit me harder than any boardroom lecture ever could." Victor leaned forward, eyes serious. "We don't offer handouts, Ethan, but we do offer opportunities. My company is launching a new creative division in Chicago and New York. Photography is your passion, correct? We'd like to give you a chance to show what you can do." Ethan's pulse raced. This wasn't charity, it was a lifeline wrapped in dignity. Yet the old fears whispered. Would they expect something in return? Would they learn the rest of his story and turn away like his parents had? By the time Victor and Liam left, Ethan held a business card and a promise of an interview the following week. He sank back against the closed door, exhaling shakily. For the first time in years, the knot in his chest felt a fraction looser. But as sunlight streamed through the dusty window, he wondered what price this unexpected door might carry. The interview went better than Ethan dared dream. The Langford creative offices occupied the top 3 floors of a gleaming Michigan Avenue tower, and the creative director, a sharp woman named Maya, spent 40 minutes flipping through Ethan's battered portfolio. "Raw, honest work," she said finally. "We need that. Start Monday, assistant photographer on the urban renewal campaign." Ethan walked out into the crisp autumn air, feeling lighter than he had in months. The first paycheck arrived 2 weeks later, enough to cover rent and groceries, with a little left for new lenses. He texted Liam a simple thank you photo of the check and received an immediate reply. "Coffee tomorrow? My treat this time." They met at a quiet cafe near the lake. Liam arrived in jeans and a hoodie, looking nothing like the heir to a billion-dollar empire. Over lattes, they talked for hours. Liam shared how growing up in the spotlight had made every relationship feel transactional. "Dad's always been supportive of who I am," he said softly, "but the world outside our circle isn't. I came out at 17, and the press twisted it into a scandal. I learned to hide parts of myself, even from friends." Ethan nodded, understanding too well. He told Liam about the night his father changed the locks, the letters his mother never answered, the lonely holidays spent scrolling through other people's family photos. "I keep thinking if I just work harder, prove I'm worth something, maybe they'll see me again," Ethan admitted, voice cracking. Liam reached across the table, squeezing his hand, once brief but warm. "You're already worth everything, Ethan. The rest is just noise." Friendship bloomed fast and easy. Weekends they wander Millennium Park, Liam teaching Ethan how to frame cityscapes, while Ethan showed Liam the hidden murals and back alleys. One Sunday, as golden light bathed the bean sculpture, Liam turned to him. "You know what you did that day on the curb? It wasn't just about the sandwich. It was about seeing someone when they felt invisible. I've been chasing that feeling ever since." Ethan's cheeks warmed under the compliment. For the first time, the fluttering in his stomach felt like possibility rather than fear. Yet doubts lingered. Liam's world moved in private jets and board meetings, while Ethan still counted pennies. What if this closeness was only gratitude? At work, Ethan thrived. Maya praised his eye for emotion, and soon he was shooting solo assignments. His new colleague Marcus seemed friendly at first, buying him lunch and asking about his weekend. But one afternoon, Ethan overheard Marcus on a call. "Yeah, the new guy's good, but you should see his portfolio, real artsy. But he got the job because of who he knows." The words stung. Ethan pushed the hurt down, reminding himself he had earned this. Still, the old voice whispered that he would always be the charity case. That evening, Liam called. "Dad wants us both at the family lake house this weekend. Low-key, just us and a couple of cousins. Come with me." Ethan hesitated, then agreed. The drive north along the lakeshore felt like stepping into a different life. The Langford estate stretched along the water, modern glass and cedar blending into the pines. Victor greeted them warmly, clapping Ethan on the shoulder. "Glad you're here, son." The word landed soft, and Ethan blinked back unexpected tears. Over dinner, Liam's cousin Sarah asked gentle questions about his photography, while Victor listened, nodding approval. For a few golden hours, Ethan let himself imagine belonging. But Sunday morning, everything shifted. Ethan stepped onto the deck, phone in hand, checking messages, and found a missed call from his mother. Heart pounding, he dialed back. Her voice was tight. "We saw your name in some article online. Linked to the Langfords. Ethan, are you still living that way?" The conversation ended in tears and silence. When Liam found him later, Ethan was staring at the water, fists clenched. "They'll never accept me," he whispered. Liam sat beside him, shoulder to shoulder. "Then we build our own family, starting right here." The words wrapped around Ethan's heart like a promise, and for the first time, he let himself lean into the warmth. Back in Chicago, the weeks blurred into a rhythm Ethan had never known. Mornings shooting rooftops at sunrise, afternoons editing in the Langford studio, evenings sharing takeout with Liam on the couch of his new apartment. A bright one-bedroom Victor insisted on subsidizing at market rate. The subsidy still made Ethan's pride prickle, but Liam's steady reassurance helped. "It's not charity if you're giving back tenfold with your talent," he said one night as they watched the city lights flicker below. Their conversations grew deeper. Liam confessed the pressure of being the only son expected to take over the empire, while secretly wanting to open a youth shelter for LGBTQ teens. Ethan admitted he still checked his parents' social media, hoping for any sign of softening. Their bond shifted quietly one rainy Thursday. They were reviewing contact sheets sprawled on the floor, when Liam's fingers brushed Ethan's, reaching for the same print. Neither pulled away. The air thickened. Liam's voice dropped. "I've been trying not to rush this, but every time I see you, I remember that curb and how you chose me when no one else would." Ethan met his eyes, pulse racing. "I didn't choose you because of who your dad is. I chose you because you looked like you needed someone to see you." Their first kiss was soft, tentative, full of the weight of two men who had learned love could cost everything. No fireworks, just the steady certainty that this felt right. The following Monday, Marcus cornered Ethan in the break room. "Heard you're cozy with the boss's son. Nice upgrade from starving artist." The sneer was unmistakable. Ethan kept his voice even. "My work speaks for itself." But the damage was done. By afternoon, whispers followed him down hallways. He told Liam that night, curled on the couch. Liam's jaw tightened. "We'll handle it together." Yet the next week, a local blog posted a blurry photo of them leaving the lake house, hands brushing. Langford air and new hire. Office romance or nepotism? The comments were vicious. Ethan's old high school acquaintances piled on, tagging his parents. The silence from Illinois felt louder than ever. Victor called them both into his office. "I've faced worse storms," he said calmly. "But you two decide how you want to weather this. I'll support whatever choice you make." Ethan left the meeting torn between gratitude and the crushing fear that he was dragging Liam into the mud. That weekend, Liam surprised him with tickets to a small photography exhibit downtown. In the quiet gallery, Liam slipped an arm around his waist. "I'm not hiding anymore, Ethan. Not from the world, not from you." The simple declaration cracked something open inside Ethan. He realized love wasn't just butterflies, it was standing beside someone when the storm hit. Yet the storm intensified. Ethan's mother finally texted, "We're praying for you, but we can't condone this lifestyle. Please don't contact us until you're ready to change." The words sliced deep. Liam found him later, crying in the darkroom, and simply held him, no words needed. In that moment, Ethan understood sacrifice wasn't only giving away a sandwich, it was choosing to keep loving even when the world told you to stop. The charity gala arrived like a test Ethan never signed up for. Langford Foundation's annual event filled the Art Institute with crystal chandeliers and Chicago's elite. Victor asked both young men to present the new youth shelter initiative, the very project Liam had dreamed of for years. Ethan spent hours perfecting the slideshow, his photographs of homeless LGBTQ teens he had quietly documented over the past months. Dressing in the fitted suit Liam lent him, Ethan stared at his reflection. "You look like you belong," Liam said from the doorway, voice soft with pride. The ballroom buzzed. Cameras flashed as they took the stage together. Liam spoke first, voice steady. "This shelter exists because one person's kindness reminded me that no one should face the night alone." He glanced at Ethan, the look saying everything words couldn't. Ethan stepped forward, heart hammering, and clicked to the first image. A young man sleeping on a bench eerily similar to the curb where they met. "I was that stranger once," Ethan said, voice gaining strength. "And someone chose to see me. Tonight we ask you to do the same." The applause was thunderous. For 3 minutes, Ethan felt invincible. Then Marcus appeared at the after-party, smirk in place. "Cute speech. Too bad the board is questioning whether your relationship compromises the foundation's image." The words landed like ice water. Later, Victor pulled them aside. "Ignore the noise. But I need you both to be strategic. The press is circling." Ethan nodded, but inside the old panic rose. Was he ruining Liam's future the way his own parents claimed he ruined theirs? The next morning, tabloids exploded. Billionaire's son and charity photographer. Real love or PR stunt? Comments flooded social media, some supportive, many vicious. Ethan's phone blew up with messages from distant relatives demanding he think of the family name. He turned it off, hands shaking. Liam found him on the rooftop terrace, staring at the skyline. "Walk away if you need to," Liam said quietly. "I'll understand." The offer broke Ethan's heart because he knew Liam meant it. "I'm not walking away from us," Ethan answered, pulling Liam close. "Not now, not ever." In that embrace on the windy rooftop, Ethan made his choice. He would fight not just for love, but for the right to exist fully. The weeks that followed tested everything. Ethan's landlord suddenly raised the rent, citing building upgrades. Everyone knew was code for pressure from somewhere higher. Marcus filed a complaint claiming favoritism, forcing HR to investigate. Through it all, Liam stood solid, bringing coffee to long editing nights, listening when Ethan needed a vent. One quiet evening, Liam handed him an envelope. Inside was the deed to a small studio space downtown. For your own gallery someday. No strings. Ethan stared, tears blurring the paper. I can't accept this. Liam smiled gently. You already did when you gave me that sandwich. Let me give something back. The investigation cleared Ethan, but the damage lingered. Colleagues avoided eye contact in hallways. Maya pulled him aside one afternoon. Your work is stellar, but the optics Victor wants you on a special project in New York for 6 months. Distance might cool things down. The offer felt like exile wrapped in opportunity. Ethan discussed it with Liam over dinner. Go, Liam urged. We'll visit every weekend. This is your dream, not mine. Yet the thought of leaving Chicago, of leaving Liam, twisted like a knife. That night, they sat on the fire escape, wrapped in a blanket, watching traffic crawl below. I'm scared, Ethan whispered. Scared that if I leave, everything will fall apart. Liam rested his head on Ethan's shoulder. Then we make sure it doesn't. New York arrived in a blur of yellow cabs and towering ambition. Ethan threw himself into the project, photographing immigrant stories for a major exhibit. Late nights in the temporary studio, he video-called Liam, recounting small victories and bigger doubts. The distance sharpened everything. The ache of missing Liam's laugh, the comfort of his steady presence. One weekend, Liam flew in, surprising him with tickets to a Broadway show. In the darkened theater, their hands found each other, and Ethan felt the world steady again. Back in Chicago, tension simmered. Victor called an emergency family meeting. The board is pushing for a public statement about your relationship. I told them to go to hell, but the pressure is mounting. Liam's face hardened. Then I'll make my own statement. The next morning, he posted a simple photo on his personal account. The two of them at the lake house, foreheads touching. Caption: Kindness found me when I needed it most. Love kept me. Proudly gay, proud of the man beside me. The internet ignited. Support poured in from unexpected places, celebrities, activists, even strangers sharing their own stories. But so did hate. Ethan's parents finally broke their silence with a certified letter demanding he cease embarrassing the family. The betrayal came from the place he least expected. Marcus leaked old emails, twisting innocent conversations into proof of improper influence. The story hit every outlet. Ethan sat in his New York apartment staring at the screen. Liam flew in that same night, pulling him into a fierce hug. We fight this together. The following days blurred into strategy sessions, lawyers, PR teams. Victor stood firm, threatening to pull funding from any partner who pushed the narrative. Through the chaos, Ethan realized something profound. His worth was no longer tied to his parents' approval or society's gaze. It lived in the quiet moments with Liam, in the photographs that told truth in the man he was becoming. One evening in Central Park, Liam dropped to one knee, not with a ring, but with a simple key. To our future apartment in Chicago. Whenever you're ready. No pressure, just a place that's ours. Ethan laughed through tears, pulling him up. Yes, 1,000 times yes. The gala 6 months later felt like coming full circle. The Langford Foundation's annual event now doubled as the grand opening of the new youth shelter. Ethan stood on stage beside Liam and Victor, the crowd a sea of supportive faces and a few lingering skeptics. His photographs lined the walls, stories of resilience, hope, and chosen family. When it was his turn to speak, Ethan looked out and saw his own journey reflected in every frame. I once gave away my only meal because I knew what it felt like to have nothing, he began, voice clear and strong. That single choice led me here, to love, to purpose, to a life I never dared imagine. To every young person watching tonight, your kindness, your truth, your courage, they matter. They change everything. The standing ovation lasted minutes. Later, as the band played, Liam pulled Ethan onto the dance floor under soft lights. Proud of you, he murmured, forehead resting against Ethan's. Proud of us. Victor joined them, raising a glass. to the family we choose. For the first time, Ethan felt the words settle comfortably in his chest. His parents had not come around, but new messages arrived daily from teens the shelter had helped. He had built something lasting. Driving home, through Chicago's glowing streets, Liam rested a hand on Ethan's knee. Ready for whatever comes next? Ethan smiled, turning to look at the man who had walked into his life on a rainy curb. With you? Always. The city lights danced across the windshield, promising more chapters, more growth, more love. True or false? One selfless act of kindness from a struggling gay man can truly overcome deep-rooted prejudice, family rejection, and societal barriers to create lasting love, belonging, and personal transformation. Or does real change always require more than a single sandwich?